Well, hey everyone, Carlos Sanchez with the Institute of Musical Arts. Welcome back to another one of our videos. Today we're going to talk about something very basic. It's one of the first things that I start my students with, which is arpeggios. And arpeggios are a way to be able to, it's sort of like a fingering style where we're going to be playing certain notes in an order, and then we're going to create a loop. So it is something that will help us to develop skills on our right hand. It's something we do with our right hand. And then we're going to eventually be able to use it to incorporate it in songs, melodies, and different instrumental arrangements. So there's many different kinds of styles of arpeggios, many different combinations. So for now, what I'm going to do is just show you some of the basic things that you need to watch for when you do play arpeggios, all right? And I will use one of the arpeggios that are really basic as an example so that you can get an idea what we need to do. Here we go. It's very important that our hand is in the right position. Our forearm needs to be resting, just as a general rule of thumb. It depends on the guitar you have, but at the end of the bridge, which is this right here at the bottom of the bridge, imagine that you draw a line all the way to the top, right where the hump is right here. That's where your forearm needs to go. Ideally, we want to be like this. We don't want to have our elbow hanging this way because it will change our position. Some people are comfortable doing it that way, but ideally you want to have your forearm resting there. And the way you can measure if you're in the right place is your hand, as it faces out, needs to be right on top of the lower section of the sound hole, right here where I am at. We don't want to have our hand too far into this side or this side. Ideally right here. And the key is to make sure our hand is very relaxed. I'm going to get a sideways profile so that you can see what I'm talking about. We want our hand to have a natural fall right here. We don't want our hand to be flat like this at the wrist point. Rest it right here and let it relax like this. It's super important. We want to have room to be able to pull the strings this way, opposed to having a flat wrist. You won't have room to pull, and then you'll be actually plucking the strings up, and that's something we don't want. So once we have our position, which by the way has to be natural, like I said, always check that you're relaxed, and you're going to have tension as you do these exercises, always in the beginning. So watch your hand. We don't want to have a hand like this with a 90-degree angle right here, because that's tension, and we don't want to have it too like this. So just keep in mind, relaxed. So we're going to go ahead, and our thumb is going to play for these exercises, he's going to play the upper three strings, the 6th, 5th, and 4th, like this, going out. Imagine that you're doing a circle and you're doing it counterclockwise. We're not going to be playing circles when we play the strings, but that's just an idea. So you go like this. What I don't want to see is for your thumb to play like this and to bend this way. And I don't want also to see your thumb playing and then hiding right here in this little cave. Okay, that happens very often. So we want to play it, and we're going to be playing it with our outer side. If we look at our hand, our left side on their thumb, right here with this side is what we're going to be playing. We are not going to play with the front, the tip of your finger, okay? Because that would mean our hand needs to change positions this way. So with the side, and we play this way. If we were to play this way, let me see if you can see it, we would be bumping into our finger right here, our index or middle fingers, and we don't want that. So it needs to be able to play out. Now, As for the other fingers, the movement that I want you to do when you play the strings is like this, pulling in. You're going to be using your fingers, and when you pull the strings, make sure your movement is not coming from just right here, from this joint, like this. It needs to come all the way from your knuckles right here. So your finger needs to move entirely, okay? And you're going to be, I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out a way that you can see it. You're going to be pulling in. Imagine that you're pumping gas. You may be too young. If you're not pumping gas, imagine that you're pulling the brakes on a bike, like this. That's the movement that I want. I'm exaggerating it a little bit, but that's how I want you to move your fingers. Okay? And for that, you're going to need to be in the right position with your arm. Otherwise, remember, if your wrist is flat, you won't be able to do that pulling movement that I just showed you, and you'll be actually pulling up instead of in. Okay? There needs to be space right here in between your wrist and the guitar. Here we go. An arpeggio that I'll show you just as as an example of how we can work with arpeggios is, I'm going to play the 6th string with the thumb, and then the index will play the 3rd string, middle will play the 2nd, and our ring finger will play the 1st string, like so. Okay, and then we're going to come back to the middle and back to the index. So in essence what we're doing is we're playing our bass string at the 6th, and then we do index on the 3rd, middle 2nd, ring 1st, back to the middle on the 2nd, and back to the index on the 3rd. So we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, after we do it one time, then our thumb can come down to the 5th string instead of the 6th, and we repeat the same exercise. And then we go down once more to the 4th string with the thumb. We repeat it again, and then we return back to the 5th, and then to the 6th. See how my fingers are playing all the way down from right here. Okay, the knuckles. Let me go ahead and play it one more time. I'm going to get sideways so that you guys can see how my hand is actually moving. So here we go. You see, I'm pulling in. If my wrist was flat, I'd be almost forced to do this. And pulling up. If you look at it from the front, it would look like this. And we don't want to do that. So, you want to make sure you have enough room to articulate your fingers well. When you play arpeggios, you need to make sure that there is consistency between the one and the other. What I'm talking about is, this is what I don't want to hear. Okay? I want you to do it slowly. Imagine that you have a metronome, and it helps you keep the beat, the tempo. So you'd want to ideally imagine, you don't have to have one, that you have one, imagine it, and then just play like this. Go slow. Very slowly, very clean sound. Make sure you only play the string that you're supposed to. In the beginning it's going to take some practice. And then you repeat it, go back to the 5th and so on. So your thumb is going to be going from 6th to 5th to fourth, back to fifth, and then to sixth, and then fifth again if you want. And I would suggest that you go around 3 or 4 times the entire thing, because arpeggios are always going to be, a loop. With practice, you'll be able to get speed, but please, please, if you want to learn how to play arpeggios right, don't play them fast. Okay, the most important thing is you play them slow so that you can get them at the right tempo. Very consistent on the tempo. So anyway, let me show you an example of the beginning intro of a song that you're maybe familiar with, Dust in the Wind, and I'm going to play just a short section so you can see what an arpeggio actually does whenever we learn it. Okay, so here we go. Anyway, guys, that is what an example of what an arpeggio can do whenever you've practiced it and learned it the right way. So if you have any questions, send me an email. Otherwise, I thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.